next time I ask about it, though, I will expect them in order, both sides. Okay, but because we'd only had one day to look at it, I wanted you to at least know kind of,
So you
here's a massive
so you
thing.
want us to 2 columns, or you want us to draw arrows between which one's first?
2 columns, but space. But it'll be obvious, and we'll spend a lot of time with it by that
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah, I meant, but for the next exam, we'll talk about. But we only had this one day. You guys generally knew what was going on with that, so but we'll want it because it's important the order things that things happen. Okay. Oh, the general classifications of music by Boethius. These are the 3 musica things: musica mundana, musica humana, musica instrumentalis. If you misspelled them or anything like that, I know if you know it. I know you know it, but next time, someday I might actually ask you to describe them. Like,
Oh, we weren't supposed to describe them.
no, but I may ask you to describe them.
Okay.
Because like musica mundana. What does that mean?
Of the mundane.
Yeah, of the mundane, but be careful because that is but that means music of
The earth.
the planet.
The planet.
Yeah, so when we think of the spheres, when we think music of the spheres of the planets, but if you think music of the earth, that mundana in that case is a false cognate.
Yeah.
We do use that mundane, but okay, musica humana referred to the kind of the music that's kind of within us, within our bodies, the different parts and among people, and then musica instrumentalis, not necessarily music played by instruments, but music done by people. This is the actual thing that we experience in music, whether vocal or instrumental.
So wait, Mundana was of the cosmos? Or?
Yes, the
No.
cosmic music, and musica humana is kind of the
the
divine
people.
music within, I guess, the spirits of people and among people. Okay, the extra credit, man, I thought I was giving you guys a gimme with Diaesis again, since nobody
Yeah.
knew it.
I got that one.
I forgot.
But I didn't, I
Jake got
started
it,
putting the 24 for 28 and 29 ones, that's not right. So, what is that?
Diaesis is a quarter tone.
No, the 28 and 29.
28, 29. Oh yeah, Boethius classified musicians into 3 categories. What were they?
Instrumentalists, composers,
Yeah,
and
so-
musicologists.
Thank you. Theorists, yeah.
Theorists.
So basically, people who perform music,
Uh-huh.
okay, which are like the lowest. People who compose music, which is like, that's okay, but he said basically the people who perform music are like animals, servants, slaves, because they're just doing what they're trained. Okay, people who compose music, he said, that's a little bit better, but they're only doing what kind of comes naturally to them. They have kind of an innate ability to do that, but the real musicians are the theorists, the people who talk about music, the people who judge music, because they're using reason. They're using reason, the talk. Okay. And then which of these did he consider the true musicians?
Theorists.
The theorists, the musicologists. Amen.
I
You should have said that, I would give you more extra credit.
But that's called the theorist?
Yeah, people who theorize, people who think about music, people who write about music, people who talk about music. So that's why, like all the people that we read in the Strunk and the Weiss-Tereskin readings, who are based, who are talking about, well, this mode is better because of what it does for the ethos and stuff. There's nothing about how wonderful it is that people compose wonderful music. They thought those people were very low. Of course, it's also necessary to talk about music. There has to be actual music. Okay, any questions about this? It was pretty straightforward. Okay, yeah, the scores are generally pretty good. So use this as a model. Okay, especially use this as a model because actually, on the whole, these are better than the quizzes. So
I think we got bogged down with the second quiz because we were like,
yeah, the second quiz was a little tough,
yeah.
a little rough. So okay. I would like to collect and discuss listening assignment 2. Yeah, you were having printing issues, so I know you did it though.
Yeah, I should do
Okay. Thank you. Your name. Thank you. Okay. Well, let's actually hold on to them so that you can refer to them just real quick. I'll take them at the end. So what did you find interesting? Tell me a little bit about, and if something is really, really fascinating, maybe we'll listen to it a little bit. Well, what did you choose? Mark, what was one of them that you chose?
I chose the Chantar.
Oh, okay, the
Yeah.
Comtessa de Dia.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this sounds not Gregorian.
It isn't, yeah.
So I looked it up, I was like, oh wow, it's from France.
Mhm.
I was like, ooh. I actually thought it was like from like Lord of the Rings or something. It could have been something like that.
Could have been, yeah, well, maybe that Lord of the Rings, I mean, because they're trying, the whole idea of when they were scoring for Lord of the Rings, they want it to seem antique but not otherworldly, so they use older music to kind of represent different things. Of course, they had some rhythm and things like that. And what did you find particular about that? So, I mean, if you were reading the score when you were listening.
I think when I was listening to it, I was like, oh okay, it's like a drum, and they kind of, there's like a range actually. I don't know if I'm confusing it with the Hildegard one, but, because another Hildegard one was like,
A really big range.
I was like, wow. But yeah, I think the thing was just like, it just didn't sound Gregorian, and I'm so used to that.
Yeah, because that's all we've been talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, wait. So I thought it was like a secular song at first.
Mhm. It is.
It is?
It is a secular song.
I was like,
Yeah,
right now.
because remember, this is the Comtesse de Dia. She was a these were actually was she a? Oh no, I'm thinking ahead. Sorry, I'm thinking of the troubadours and the troubadours. But yeah, she. I mean, remember what we you saw a little bit about secular song. This was courtly. This was courtly love and kind of big things. Still very very moral, but about human physical love, not necessarily love of God. Allison, what was one that you chose?
I didn't choose it, but one that really I chose the last three, but one that actually really interested me that I didn't write about was the antiphon, Tecum Principium, because when I went to a choral musical experience in England in 2012, we sang a song that almost identical music line.
It might have been based.
Composer that was there and visited. So I was shocked. I was like, they must have listened to this a lot because it's almost the same.
Yeah. How about one of the ones that you chose?
The number 12, the Cantigas.
Oh yeah, the Cantigas de Santa Maria.
That was, when I first listened to it, I'm like, this sounds so Middle Eastern. When I started reading the notes about it, there were Muslim influences. I was like, I knew it because it just, they had a tambourine and then they had a neck, they called it, like a drum. But the type of syncopation and
Sounded more Middle
bounciness to the
Eastern.
rhythm, very different than, Western,
Yeah.
more subdued.
Number 12. Yeah. When you think of Islamic influences, I mean, keep in mind that when Islam began in the 7th century, it spread quickly. I mean, really quickly, and by the 8th century had taken over almost all of what is now Spain. It wasn't until Charles Martel stopped them in southern, right on the edge of France, that otherwise it would have spread further. So Spain, I think, was completely Islamic for at least 100 years. I don't remember when the Reconquista occurred, but I know by 1492. So between the year 1800 and 1492, when the last Muslim, I think, caliphate was pushed off of the Iberian Peninsula by Ferdinand and Isabella. We know them from, 1492.
Columbus!
Yeah. It's also the year they kicked all the Jews out of Spain, too. Or forced them to convert or die. But generally under the Islamic kingdoms and caliphates in Spain, it was very, very tolerant. So you had these courts and these kind of, this is actually where the modern university comes from. You had these centers of learning that included Jewish, Christian, and Muslim scholars, and this is where we got a lot of the Greek works back, because they had been saved. They had been, when Islam kind of took over formerly Greek lands, they found the documents on like geometry and music and all these things, translated them, commented on them, and then they were reintroduced back to the Western world that way. And of course we get algebra. I mean, the name algebra, that was like the name of the guy who invented it. So, but very interesting. And a lot of the instruments that we have today were brought back from the Crusades or
Oh
imported
yeah, it was a
into Spain.
crusade song, that's the other thing that I was
Yeah.
like, this was a what?
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen the lute? Some, when you think of like medieval, you think of, the big,
Oh, the lute.
the lute.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was
with all the
thinking
strings, and you think of the guy with the funny hat singing
Yeah.
about love in French on the lute.
yeah.
That comes from the oud,
Mm.
which is still played in
Yeah.
Islamic countries, and formerly Islamic countries. The oud, the lute is just a name for oud, it's just a Western name for oud. I know some really good oud players, it's really cool. What did you have? Or what did you have?
Number 6.
Number 6, uh-huh.
What was that? I kind of interesting with the whole call and response thing between
The antiphonal thing, yeah. Yeah. Susie, what did you find interesting?
I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 favorites.
Only
But,
six?
But you had to choose 3.
I had, yeah. But number 13.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Every time when that I'm listening to this, I try to picture the environment where this is happening and how it is happening.
Mhm.
And this one kind of made me think of like the villagers.
Mhm.
Like people, just a normal day, this flutist guy is playing, just walking in the streets. I don't know, it just.
Yeah, it helps to have
With the others, I was mostly thinking of a church or something more serious. But this one was more like a common day.
Dancing out in like the
Dancing,
square or
yeah.
something like that.
Very, yeah. I felt like, okay, I don't know, a little monkey is dancing. That's what I.
When you think of the jongleurs, the picture you had in the video, that a guy playing the fiddle next to a dancing bear. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's like kind of, if you've ever been to a Renaissance fair, this is maybe like
That's
what
what came to my mind.
Yeah. Jake, which ones did you like?
I thought this was due Monday, not.
Oh,
so.
was there anything that you liked anyway?
I haven't listened to it, I was
alright.
going to the lab on Sunday.
Wasn't
Yes,
that going to the pinker?
When I was listening to the motor guard,
Yes.
there was like a buzzing noise again. I wasn't sure if that was the owls or.
It might, it might have been,
Oh, yeah, it was
well,
one-
let's-
Yeah, there was like a buzzing noise.
let's, I've got,
The pedal tony one?
Yeah, I was like,
Me.
I was thinking,
The
is something
Unison
wrong again?
song? The
Yeah.
Unison song? Yeah.
It was like the one from.
the
last
Hildegard,
song.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's turn it on.
Isn't that common to have octaves though?
That one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it was,
I read about that one too.
probably, maybe a bagpipe or an old string instrument. But yeah, the buzz is a drone.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
let's-
oh.
Let's see if we can identify it.
Is that a enharmonic?
It just sounds like some sort of either a wind instrument or like a bagpipe or something like
Yeah.
That's what I put that.
And that was like I know it was a string. It sounds no actually that was like
That was a reed instrument.
harpsichord, but I was like, wait, that didn't come at that time yet.
To me, it sounds like a wind instrument.
Yeah.
Like a guy.
And it might have been even like a very early organ, maybe a reed organ. It doesn't sound. It sounds more like something. It sounds like a kazoo, but
Yeah. This.
Yeah, that
What's
was.
wrong with my computer again?
yeah, no. In that case, yeah. 'Cause when you hear that, like that's we consider that to be like a bad sound now. But that was what they had. Well, remember when you heard the aulos
Oh yeah.
with the enharmonic one? You were like, what was that? I mean, because you could make a better sound out of a kazoo.
I was like, oh okay.
Let's just to get an idea of all your favorites, let's just listen to a couple of seconds of each. So we heard the Ordo Virtutum by Hildegard, but Susie really liked the Estampi. Yeah, I can see what you mean. It feels very Renaissance fair like.
It does.
Even those is pre-Renaissance. And then,
Should throw it over?
who was it, who, you liked the Cantiga de Santa Maria, number 12?
I wrote about that one.
Yeah,
Santa Maria.
the one that you were thinking sounded very Middle Eastern.
I was waiting for
Number
them to bring
12.
up in Farsi.